Fantasy Friends. Previously on Fantasy Friends.
Okay.
Welcome back, everybody, to week 6 of Fantasy Friends. Coming at you today from the kitchen yet again.
Usual. Yeah.
We got Larry and Jake, myself, and today we're going to start with some bold predictions.
Yep, we are going bold today. We are basically giving some hot takes, some spicy takes.
Why is it spicy?
Why is it spicy, you might ask? Because it's bold, and bold means spicy.
Exactly. So
Alright.
we're going to combine our power rankings this week with our bold predictions.
Keep in mind also for these bold predictions, we're not saying that they're guaranteed to come true. We're just saying these are kind of really hot takes. These are out there. But we're saying that we see a possibility of those things happening.
That's why it's spicy.
That's why they're good. All right, and let's start out with number 12 in the power rankings, Samuel Fontaine. All right, and what would be your bold prediction for Mr. Fontaine's team?
So for Mr. Fontaine's team, I have that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to average 1.5 more yards per carry than Joe Mixon this week. Joe Mixon's not going to have a good week running the ball at all against the Colts, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, although he's playing the Bills, is fighting for his job, and I think that he's going to have a good week this week.
Wow, that is a very specific yards per carry, and I do appreciate that. That's a nice one.
Yes.
I think that's totally possible with the matchups and everything. I would say for mine, actually, my take for Sam's team also has to do with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It's not quite as positive, though. I'm saying, not including this week, once Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell are both playing for the Chiefs, Le'Veon Bell will outscore Clyde Edwards-Helaire for the rest of the season. I think that Le'Veon Bell is an insane back. People forget 2 years ago. He's still pretty young, and he's still got a lot of explosiveness in him. He was on the Jets, which kind of distorts people's vision, but once players get off the Jets, they go off. Look at Robbie Anderson. Look at Ryan Tannehill. Look at Jay Ajayi. There's so many examples, and I think Le'Veon Bell is just going to be another
Fitzpatrick.
one.
No, I'm just kidding.
There you go, too.
All right, we're going to move on to
Number 11.
Tie for 11
tie
and
for
10.
11.
We have Abby and Jack.
Abby and Jack.
We're going to start
How
with
about that?
Jacked Off.
Mhm.
And
What's your bold prediction for us?
so my bold prediction, if I can find it. So my bold prediction is that Cam will be a top 5 quarterback fantasy-wise the rest of the season. As
Seems
long
very
as
unbiased.
he plays,
Very objective take right
those
there.
rushing touchdowns and rushing yards are going to add a lot to his. And also, if you look at the rest of the season, the Patriots have a favorable matchup in terms of fantasy quarterback opposing fantasy. You know what I'm trying
Points
to
allowed,
say?
yeah.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that happening. He's got that running capability you always want in a top-level quarterback, and he's got, the Patriots schedule they get every year is kind of a gift.
You mean the rotating schedule?
Yeah, but, the division. And
That's
now
true.
for Jack.
The Bills are doing pretty well, but
Not the quarterbacks, but yeah. When it comes with Jack, I've got my take is Todd Gurley, killing it previously, kind of 20-10, number 10 running back right now in the year. I am saying for the rest of the season, Todd Gurley is not a top 20 running back. That's right. This dude is not going to be performing up to what he's done so far. I think if you look, he's been bailed out by touchdowns. He's been looking slow.
He had a
He's
pretty
on a
good
bad
week last
offense.
week. He broke a
against
couple
the
good runs.
worst rushing defense in the league.
Which
I don't
team was
expect
it? The Panthers?
The Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
So, them and Atlanta are the two, and he can't play Atlanta because that's his team. So he will not get a matchup like that ever again. I think that Todd Gurley, he won't be quite as good as he is now. Not even top 20.
I respect it. I think
Being bold,
it is bold. I respect it. All right, I'm gonna give you my hot take, spicy take for Abby,
Abby's team.
which is that we already know Adam Thielen's the number 1 wide receiver so far. Devontae Adams has been hampered by injuries. I think that
Great first game, but yes.
Abby is going to have the 2 of the top 3 wide receivers fantasy wise throughout the rest of the season, and that's like hot, but it's like
That is hot, but I was almost going to put that as my take. I was going to say, actually, I was thinking about putting as my take, Abby will have the number 1 and number 2 wide receiver.
I also want to
rest
do
of
that,
the
but
year.
I didn't know.
No, that is a better
Yeah.
take, and
Yeah.
that's still hot, and I love it. I decided to actually go with another one of Abby's wide receivers.
Okay.
I went with Mr. Michael Gallup of the Dallas Cowboys. He was getting some love from Andy Dalton at the end of the last game, and I think Michael Gallup, this is a bold take, by the way, will be the number 1 Cowboys wide receiver rest of season.
That is a bold-ass take right
Andy
there.
Dalton loves throwing it deep. He loves throwing it deep, and Michael Gallup is one of their best deep ball players. I don't think that they're going to be using the run more, so they're not going to be using the volume receivers quite as much. I think Michael Gallup has the potential to score a lot of touchdowns and a lot of big plays right there.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I could see it happening, and that's my bold take. Okay. And now on to a riser and a new manager in our league, Mr. Tedward's team. Yes, Ted. All right, sitting right now at number 9 in the power rankings.
Yep. So,
what is your take for this?
My take for Ted's team is that Ronald Jones will have he already has had 2 straight 100-yard performances. He's going to have 2 more 100-yard performances.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that.
He's going to have 4 straight when it's all said and done. His next 2 matchups are terrible. Let me pull them up real quick. And that's in reference to Ronald Jones. Tampa Bay plays Green Bay, who has Swiss cheese for a run defense.
Not very good.
And the Raiders, who basically just has Swiss cheese with like a couple fewer holes.
Better than the Panthers.
Not as many mice have been nibbling on it, but number 31 and number 30 against running backs. And after rushing for over 100 yards against 2 good defenses in the Chargers and the Bears.
Okay.
That's my take.
And for Ted, me and Ted actually got involved in our recent trade. I gave him a T. Higgins. He gave me DeAndre Swift. Pretty fair offer. And I actually think my bold prediction relates to T. Higgins, who he received from me. Maybe it's because he was on my team and I got some positive feelings. I'm saying T. Higgins will be a top 20 fantasy wide receiver rest of season. T. Higgins, a rookie. He's getting acquainted with the offense. He's taking A.J. Green is losing out on touches. It seems like T. Higgins is getting the number 1 kind of opportunities along with maybe Tyler Boyd a little. But T. Higgins is really shining. He's getting more used to the offense, building rapport with their quarterback, Joe Burrow. And I could definitely see him becoming a rookie who kind of dominates as the year goes on and hits that top 20.
I like that take. That's a good one. I like T. Higgins as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, and now let's get to number 8 in our power rankings, where we actually have a tie at 8 and 7 between Jake Younger and Cassie Scott.
Yep. So we're going to start with Cassie here. Juju know what's up. Mm-hmm. And this kind of relates to her opponent a little bit, but I think that Zach Moss, this is a very hot take, is going to outscore Devin Singletary this week.
I could see that, yeah.
Zach Moss is back from injury. I think that Devin Singletary is going to get a lot fewer touches as he's been struggling to run the ball effectively. In terms of yards per carry the last couple of games, he got bailed out by a touchdown in one of them. But he did have a few receptions in that game. But Zach Moss coming back against the Chiefs, I think that he's going to get the goal line carries and get the touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and for Cassie, I like that take. I think that I could totally see Zach Moss elevating himself through the running back course and taking a rise.
It's bold, let me tell you.
It is bold.
Devin Singletary hasn't been performing poorly.
But T.J. Yeldon has, if you look last week, T.J. Yeldon did get a decent amount of run, and I think Zach Moss is a better player than T.J. Yeldon.
I think he's going to take that role. Yeah.
And when you look at Cassie's team, I have a prediction about one of her running backs that's not quite as positive. I have Chris Carson, who's been a top 5 running back so far this year, doing great, scored a lot of touchdowns, getting a lot of receiving work. I think I like Chris Carson, but my bold take is he will not be a top 12 running back on average for the rest of the season. And
that is bold.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Carson was one of those running backs that I think is slept on every year.
That's why I hate saying this because I do think he's slept on too. But I think with Penny coming back, I don't know. I think that Carson's still the number 1 guy. I think Penny could have eat into his work a little, and Carson has gotten a lot of touchdowns, which does happen with this offense, and a lot of receptions, but I could see just the absurd efficiency. If it drops a little bit, I'm not saying he's going to be bad. I just think that
he has been kind of lucky based on
getting a lot of receptions too, which he can still keep up, but I think that Penny could eat into that work, and his efficiency could just drop a little to the point where he's no longer top 12. He still will be good, though, Cassie. Do not just try to trade him because of that, but that's,
unless you're
being bold.
Yeah. I'll take him.
I will still take him. Okay. And now on to Mr. Younger's team.
Yes.
All right. And what take do you have for what's the name of his team now? Slept on.
Slept on.
And you know what? I kind of think it is a bit slept on. I think that his squad is good. It's got some potential, especially if Brandon Cooks comes along. But all right, let's get to the bold takes. That's
my take. He picked up Kirk Cousins this week after trading Lamar a couple weeks ago, and We all know that Lindsay has Josh Allen, who's been performing very well on her team.
I like this.
My hot take, Kirk Cousins will outscore Josh Allen this week. And honestly, this isn't included in my hot take, but I think it's going to be by 5 points.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that made it real spicy. I love that take. I was considering actually making my take Kirk Cousins was going to be the number 1 quarterback this week.
Okay.
And I think that that's a good. I didn't, so this worked out.
Yep.
And but I do think that you spot a great thing. He's got a great matchup. I think that with the new running back, they might try to air it out a bit more. And if it does, they can definitely get connections with Adam Thielen.
And I don't trust their defense to hold the Falcons, so I think it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, that's usually what happens with the Falcons, so I do not, fault you for thinking that. My take has to do with Jake's number 1 wide receiver, Tyreek Hill. We all know him. He's put up some good points, top 5 so far. I'm going to say until Sammy Watkins comes back, Tyreek Hill is the number 1 scoring fantasy wide receiver. That is my hot take. I think that he will get a little more. He always gets those big plays. I think he can get more volume a little bit, just enough where he's already performing really well. But if he can get just maybe a touchdown more, a reception more a game, that's going to be enough where he's going to be dominant wide receiver 1 until Sammy comes back. I also like the other wide receiver he's got from the Chiefs now too.
McCole Hardman.
McCole Hardman will be pretty good.
He'll definitely step up in Sammy Watkins' absence. I like the Tyreek Hill take, especially considering he doesn't play any really lockdown cornerbacks the rest of the season. Maybe in Carolina will have some issues, but it's Tyreek Hill. He'll just outrun everybody over the top, and Patty Mahomes has the arm to get it to him.
Okay. Now on to Mr. Samuel Nathan with Build the Waller.
He's placed at number 6?
Number 6 in our power rankings.
All right.
Yep. And what would your take be for this team?
So, my take, he this is a funny one. So, my take is going to be kind of obvious. I don't even know if it's bold because we're talking about Ryan Fitzpatrick here. Ryan Fitzpatrick's has been balling since his very terrible performance week 1. Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to end the season higher than Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, wow. Okay, yep. I thought you were going with over Lamar. Okay.
Oh, no.
But that works too. Those are both pretty bold. I like them.
I had over Aaron, but over Lamar. Hey, that's possible too.
I was thinking about that because he's got Lamar on the team too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to be fair, Ryan Fitzpatrick's already an outscoring Lamar, but that's just because Ryan Fitzpatrick
I have to go with someone he's not ahead.
And Ryan Fitzpatrick is great. He's putting up numbers, and he always does, as long as he doesn't throw a ton of interceptions.
What's surprising is this is hardly a knock on Aaron Rodgers. It's more of just Ryan Fitzpatrick is going off, and he's going to
great. Last year he was a top scorer. This year's a top scorer. Somehow he still doesn't get picked up.
Yeah.
All right. And for my bold take for Sam's team on this one, I'm not sure how bold you'd quantify it. Well, no, it's not. It's like kind of. It's kicker bold. So I'm saying Harrison Butker, number 1 kicker on this week by far. He's hitting 20. That's what I'm saying. The butt.
That's
going hard.
That's bold.
He's hammer. I would hammer the butt this week.
Hammer the butt.
And that
smack the butt.
What reasons do I have for this? Very little, except I think it's going to be kind of a shootout, and maybe the Butker can get some picks and.
Okay, I like it.
All right.
I like a good kicker prediction.
All right.
I like it.
Number 5. All right, we got Lindsay sitting at number 5 in the rankings right now.
Okay. Lindsay at number 5. She's 3-2. Had a big win last week. Mm-hmm. She has a couple good wide receivers. None of them that are jumping out to you. But what I'm gonna say is that her number 1 wide receiver is Allen Robinson. She's going to have 2 wide receivers in Hollywood Brown and Justin Jefferson scoring higher than Allen Robinson this week.
This week?
This week.
Let me see the matchups. I don't like it, but I it's bold, and I'll give you that.
Philly has been letting up a lot of points to wide receivers, and Justin Jefferson is going up against the Falcons.
I would agree with you if it weren't for the fact that I just think Allen Robinson has been really dominant recently, and it really depends on if Darius Slay comes back for the Eagles.
That's why it's a bold prediction.
And if Slay is out, I do love that prediction.
I think that Hollywood is going to have a good week, and I think that Justin Jefferson is going to have a good week. very good week, I think Justin Jefferson is going to have a very good week. But
Justin Jefferson I love this week.
Allen Robinson, I think, will score about his prediction. Mm-hmm. I just think that the other two are going to have great weeks.
My prediction relates to actually one of Lindsay's wide receivers, but none of the ones that you mentioned.
Okay.
I am talking about the upstart Eagle, Travis Fulgham. And what I'm saying is, all right, there was a lot of big names on the waiver wire last week. There was Mike Williams. There was Henry Ruggs. There was Chase Claypool, the gem of them all. I will say, first off, not including this week. After this week, Travis Fulgham will outscore all of them on average points per game. He will be the best pickup from those wide receivers rest of season after this week.
I like it.
I would think that he looks very athletic, and the thing is, his targets, I think, are a bit more sustainable just because the Eagles' wide receiver injuries are a bit more systemic than the Pittsburgh ones where Deontay's going to be out about 1 week.
Dante will be back soon.
I think that they both are going to be very talented, but I think that I can definitely see Fulgham getting a lot of opportunity, and I think that he has the ability to capitalize on that.
Yeah, I like
offense that doesn't have much weapons. All right,
that's definitely stepping into a very, very easy role, as in you don't have much competition because of injuries, of course.
Yeah, when Rager comes back, it's going to be different, but he'll still be good.
We'll see.
Now on to number 4 on our power rankings. Myself, Team Larry, with my Chubb Ertz for the next 5 weeks.
I didn't notice that because it's ... on my app, so I didn't notice that you changed it again. That's good.
Yeah, it's countdown. Might have to be extended depending on how the injury stuff goes. But
all right.
What's your bold prediction for my team?
My bold prediction for this week is that Gaskin is going to outscore Jonathan Taylor.
Okay, I like that.
That's my bold prediction this week, based on Jonathan Taylor is going to have an okay game against the Bengals, and I think that they will get up and they're going to run the ball, but I think that Gaskin is going to match what he did last week against the Jets because they're also going to be up and they're also going to run the ball. After, of course, Fitzpatrick's throws for 4 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and my bold prediction kind of actually, I like that first off. I do think Jonathan Taylor has the potential, but I could totally see him getting limited carries if the Colts are up by too much.
Right.
And I can definitely see the Gaskin have a lot of potential in a game where I think that the Dolphins might just lay it on. My prediction also actually relates to the titular gas can.
The gas can.
And I will say that gas can has enough juice, has enough heat and fire to be a top 15 running back rest of season. That is right. Myles Gaskin, book it.
Guys.
Top 15. That is spicy.
All right.
That is hot because you know what? You know what makes things hot?
Ladies.
Some gas.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to make another bold prediction here on top. Another gas can prediction. Mm-hmm. Larry's going to be selling after this week. So be ready for those trade offers.
Well, he's on buy, but I will not be selling the gas can because he's a beast. He's great. Well, maybe. We'll see actually how it goes.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to package him with the wide receiver, we'll see. But
it's going to be top 15. Hey, I like it.
I
like the bold prediction.
I think that the Dolphins are going to be actually surprisingly good this year. I think that he's going to be a decent weapon in their offense, and just because of the reception floor he has, I think that he'll be good every single week. And now that he has a touchdown upside, I just think that I don't think he'll be a top 12. I don't think he'll be great, but I think that top 15 is not too difficult to reach as long as you're consistent week to week, and I think he can do that. All right, and now we're on to number 3, which is the other fantasy friend right here, Jacob Wilder.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you my bold prediction for the Deflators. This, I think, it's hard to go bold, but I think that Zeke Elliott is going to be the number 1 running back for the rest of the season.
Okay.
I think that at the end of the year, he's going to be the number 1 running back.
Well, we're talking about average points. We're talking about overall.
I think that...
in spite of the bye or just on average?
I think that at the end of the year, he's going to be RB... Okay, rest of the year, on average, he's going to be RB1.
Okay, that is. I mean, I think predicting anyone to be the number 1
he's
running
number
back,
3 right now.
Yeah, it's always
pass Kamara. You got to, honestly...
No, but I can see that. Dude, he is the lifeblood right now of the Dallas offense.
Yeah.
And he's going to get a lot of touches.
Yeah.
I am not too confident. I think that having Dak as a dynamic quarterback helps him a lot with just having an explosive offense and opening up some holes.
I agree.
I do think he will get
throwing
the
ball a ton. Mm-hmm. And now that they're not going to be able to, I think that he's good enough where even if the defense tries to key in on him, he can still run the ball for
Mhm.
25 times and 125 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I like it. I mean, Zeke obviously is pretty great, and it's
Yeah.
definitely a bit bold just because, anyone being number one is pretty bold, but
Yeah.
I think it definitely could happen. My prediction for you, sorry to say it's not quite as high up and positive. Has to do with, you actually have him on your bench, so it's not too big a deal, but DJ Moore had a great week last week. I want to say 17.3 points. DJ Moore will not have more than 17.3 points in any game for the rest of the season. That is my bold prediction.
I understand where you're coming from, but they play the Falcons in a couple weeks.
I do agree, but they already just did play the Falcons. I think that I could see him doing it, but again, that's why it's bold.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think that it's not too bold, but
here's what I agree with. I think that the next 2 weeks he's going to decline, but I think that once he hits the juicy part of his schedule and he starts to perform more consistently, I think that he's gonna. I'm not saying he's going over 17, but I don't think that I still think that he's. I think that he'll reach over 17. Personally, I think he's gonna hit 20.
I could. It's always possible. I just do not like the way his targets are going. I think that they really. I thought he was even going to do better, really, than he did in the Atlanta matchup this week, where he kind of got bailed out by a play. I mean, the play still is important and still gets him some points.
Every way a player scores is up there.
Yeah, no, and I just think that he's not quite as reliable as I would hope him to be as another person who has DJ Moore in my other league.
Trust me, I was hoping he would be a wide receiver one for me, but
but I
it's
think
not yet come to fruition.
We'll see how he does for the rest of the year. Will he break 17.3? We'll find out.
All right. Now
I
respect that.
On to Team Ben, rated at number 2. All right. And Ben, he did pretty well last week. Still somehow 4-1 despite a ton of injuries. And what is your bold prediction for?
So my bold prediction is, I don't know if you can call it very bold. I think that Travis Kelce is going to score more points than he has yet this year.
I think that's pretty darn bold.
So I think that he's going to score 21 points.
Yeah. Basically.
Over 21 or over.
That is, I feel like saying anyone, especially a tight end, scores over 21 points is pretty darn
bold. So,
bold.
That's bold, but I'm basically saying that Travis Kelce will have his best year
totally see that happen.
Best week yet, year to date.
Again, Sammy Watkins out. That opens up a couple targets.
Yes. The Bills also have been porous against opposing tight ends. That's the biggest thing. Exactly.
2 touchdowns last week. One was kind of.
I think while they're integrating Le'Veon Bell this week, I don't know how
Le'Veon's not even playing.
Okay, that's great. They're going to run the ball, and I think they're going to jam it up down the middle of the Bills' throats. I think that Tyreek Hill will be okay on the outside, but I think that Travis Kelce's going to just have a monster.
No, I love that prediction. I think that it totally could happen. It's bold, but, it's possible.
Yep.
And my prediction is it's kind of not actually quite as fantasy-related as most other predictions. It's more just about actual game performance. But it's about the fellow Boilermaker to us, Raheem Mostert on that team.
Nice.
And I am saying Raheem Mostert, from this point on in the season, will lead the league in rushing. I think.
Wow.
I think he's an explosive back. He is still gashing teams in yards per carry. And the running back failure, I think that Kyle Shanahan's a smart enough coach to know he wants the ball in Mostert's hand, not as quarterback. I think that they could definitely, rely on him over the course of the season, especially if they need him. And I think that he definitely can deliver, and especially with their offensive line. So I think he's going to just be destroying when it comes to rushing yards the rest of the year.
All right. I like that prediction. Shout out to the fellow Boilermaker. I think that Mostert's so fast. I think if they trust him, he's shown what he can do when he's given the ball. So I like that one.
And now the consensus number 1 team this week.
For the first time ever.
We have Mr. Michael with multiple scoregasms.
Yep.
Been an epitome of consistency, both with the team name and with scoring. Been doing great. Has tons of depth. And what is your bold prediction for this team?
My bold prediction is that Julio will be the highest scorer out of all of Michael's players this week, including quarterback.
I could see that. It's a good matchup for him. And I think coming back, Julio can come back with a vengeance. He put up a ton of yards the 1 week he was healthy, and he could definitely do it again.
Yep. I think that now that he's healthy, he's playing the Vikings. It's going to be a shootout. We've already talked about that. Andy Dalton, I think he's going to do okay, but he's not going to score more than he's projected at 19 points. And Kareem Hunt and James Conner, you're going to have good weeks, but Chris Godwin might even have a good week, but Julio Jones is just going to go off.
All right, and my prediction relates to actually Michael's current quarterback, Mr. Andrew Dalton, new Cowboys quarterback, and I'm going to say...
Do you think his name is actually Andrew?
I don't even know. Probably not, honestly.
All right,
he seems like an Andy, you know.
He's definitely like an Andy.
Just straight up. Well, I'm going to say Andy Dalton will outscore, who has been Michael's starter last week and kind of seems pretty consistent, Justin Herbert on average for the rest of the season. And more than that, Andy Dalton is going to be a top 12 quarterback for the rest of the season.
I think he's stepping into a great opportunity with 3 top-end wide receivers and a running back to keep the pressure off of him.
And the biggest thing is their defense is trash. So, like it or not, Andy's going to have to throw the rock a lot if they get down, which I think could happen a decent amount, or just to keep up, kind of. Yeah. I think that they're going to have to put the ball in Andy's hands, whether they like it or not, a couple amount of times. And I think Andy has the type of talent, and he has the talent around him to basically be able to be a successful quarterback when it comes to fantasy. And those are our weekly power rankings.
Yes. Hope you grab a glass of milk after all those spicy hot takes, because you're going to need it. All right. Next, we are going to do our weekly pick-ems, our matchups.
Matchup prediction, yeah.
Should we ask anybody from the crowd if they want to join for the week? Maybe the visitor of the week?
Yeah. You fill time.
All right. I'm going to do my best job filling time while we get our matchup predictor, our excellent matchup predictor of the week. I actually don't remember the title because that was a week ago, and I haven't even thought about it since then. And introducing Cassie to the fantasy friends.
Guest.
You can come stand behind us if you'd like to.
The maven of coffee, the barista of big baristas.
All right, so welcome to the show. We're doing our. We each week make fantasy. Yes. Hey, good. Another good nickname. All right. Each week we make predictions based on who we think is going to win each matchup.
Okay.
You simply just have to say this person or this person, and we're going to keep track of it during the week.
And just like our hot takes, we were putting Cassie on the spot.
Yes.
So she's got to give some hot
She was not prepared for this at all.
And we'll see how she does.
Okay.
But keep in mind, whatever you say, it's going to hurt the feelings of the person that you're picking against. Okay? Yeah.
I love all of you, so...
Okay, so the first matchup we have, the Deflators versus Build the Waller. Cassie, on this brief glance,
you can scroll if you'd like to.
Okay. See what we have going on.
All right.
Okay. I'm going to say the Deflators.
The Deflators. Wow.
I respect it. I also said that I was going to win.
I also said that Jake was going to win.
No pressure, by the way.
Right.
But Lindsay got 3 out of 6 right last week. So you have room for improvement.
So, what was there any reason you came to that conclusion just on that very quick roster glimpse? Is it just because you hate Sam?
Well, I knew more names on this side.
Hey.
Okay, yeah.
That's a good reason.
I mean, it's the same reason we picked, apparently.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we both picked the Deflators this week. I did it mostly because looking at the Deflators matchup, I really loved the running back matchup he had against Dallas. With I think his weakest piece is his Cardinals running back, whichever one he plays. Yes. But because he's playing against Dallas and they let up points to everybody, I think that his weakest piece will be performed fine this week.
I agree. I have the ability to sit DJ Moore this week, which again I drafted to be a wide receiver 1, and he has a tough matchup. But because I have Kenyon Drake or Chase Edmonds, whoever I decide, playing a porous defense, I think that I have the edge over a team with starting Philip Lindsay.
All right. On to the next one. We have the Paraplegics versus your own fantasy friend, Mike Chubb Ertz, for 5 more weeks. Okay. And
is that Nick Chubb's timeline, actually?
5 weeks. That's right. Right now.
Darn, Kareem Hunt has a lot of room for production.
There's a bye week in there. But.
Okay.
All right, and so Cassie, looking over, which team do you recognize more names from? I mean, that guy's name sounds like a food, Jamison Crowder, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah, not like a good food though.
Ooh,
Like-
Clam chowder?
Wow, that's a hot take right there.
We need to bring out the milk again.
Okay,
To rinse
wow,
my
why do you
mouth
hate
out.
clam chowder, Cassie?
It just sounds unsettling.
So you
New England or New York?
Yeah, New York clam chowder does. So, yeah, that's right, New Yorkers. I'm coming at you. Your clam chowder is bad. It's worse than New England.
Don't shoot me, but I think I'm gonna say the paraplegics.
Okay, I will
Okay.
respect that.
That's a good pick.
All right. Why did you make the pick? Is it because you hate me?
No.
Is it because yeah?
No,
Because
I
I'm
don't.
kind of crying on the inside right now.
Yeah, don't do that.
So why did you make the
What is
decision
this?
apart from your hatred of me?
Okay. I really wish I had an answer for that.
Just because his name's good.
Okay.
Andy has a funny picture.
This.
That's funny too.
That's very funny. I recognize this guy. I think he's good.
Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
We did talk about him. He's going to have a
Also-
big week coming
Also,
up.
Yep.
this guy is playing now again, right?
Yeah, Raheem.
Yeah, and so
We mentioned him too in our
Yep.
blood takes.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Cassie doesn't even
Cassie,
need to
with
watch
that
because
superior analysis.
it's already up there.
However,
she already
She did
transferred.
differ from the two fantasy friends
Yes.
on this, as we both went with my Chubb Hurts for 5 weeks. Call me a homer, but I think that I put some extra trade capital, honestly, into kind of ensuring that I'd have better odds at this by picking up Alexander Madison. And I think Alexander Madison might be the number one running back this week. He's got a great matchup. He's going to get a lot of carries, and I think that he could be a big difference maker.
I think that the two wide receivers, Galladay and Brown, have good matchups as well. And I think that Gaskin has probably the best matchup that he could against the Jets because that's a team that the Dolphins will be up on, and they'll probably run the ball a lot. So
Okay.
I expect because of the matchups that Larry has the edge this week.
Well,
And Madison, of course.
To the next one. All right, and now we have Cassie herself versus Abby. And who are you picking for this one, Cassie?
I want to say myself so badly, but
You can say whatever you want.
You can. You'd be wrong probably, but you could say yourself.
I gotta go with Obi-Wan Mahomey.
Okay,
I
and
think
why
she's
is
really
that?
just gonna take it this week.
Is there any particular reason apart from your entire
Well,
team being on bye?
Yeah, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them are on a
You
bye
know,
this week.
sometimes you get the big bye week, and you just know you're probably gonna lose.
It's a
And
whole strategy. You meant to do this so
Yeah.
that you don't ever have buys any
Right.
other time.
We both
I
picked Abby
definitely
as
did
well,
on purpose.
but I do actually think that having a lot of buys sometimes can be beneficial. It lets you play at full strength the rest of the year. And
And,
Like I said, I think that Zach Moss will perform just as well, if not better, than Devin Singletary. But
yeah, it's just
Abby, the rest of Abby's
there's too
team,
much to
she
make
has
up
her
for.
best players, and you have
Yeah.
not your best players.
with Devontae Adams coming back as well.
what's this guy?
Yep.
McKinnon, he doesn't get as much action with Raheem
Mostert,
back
yeah.
in action.
Yep.
So
Alright.
That's a good point.
unfortunate.
On to
That's
the
a very good
next
point.
one. And our next matchup, we have Jack Off versus Ted.
1972 Miami Dolphins.
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's his name. All right, so Cassie, take a look over this.
He wants to go for that perfect season since becoming manager.
And he is on a good start,
Yes.
going 1-0.
Yeah.
His first game.
Can't
with
do
a
any better
very
than
good
that.
performance.
Yep.
Also, one that
That was a nail biter.
Mhm.
Derrick Henry on Tuesday night won that over Abby.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
Abby, for 0-5. No.
Abby, but
Don't worry, you're gonna
at
get
least
one this week.
Cassie's being a good
We all
friend right
predicted.
here.
Well, Jack beat me.
That's a good point.
That is a good point.
Let's see. I think I'm gonna go with Ted on this one.
All right, we actually both went with Ted as well.
Mhm.
Cassie, why'd you go with Ted?
Honestly, just projection numbers, really. But
Fair
That's
enough.
fair.
Jack's just had bad luck so far.
Yeah, that injury history does hurt him.
Injuries happen.
Personally, I went with it because I love the Kyler Murray matchup, and I think Derrick Henry is finally kind of hitting his stride this year, and I think he'll be pretty good.
I agree. I just think that his lineup overpowers this lineup, when you look at Ronald Jones, Miles Sanders, and Derrick Henry versus Todd Gurley and Leonard Fournette, there's not really a competition.
I do think it could be way closer than the projections do say.
I think
though.
that Cam's going to have a good week, and I think
his
that the wide receivers
I
will...
think, look out, Chase Claypool. I know I said full game's going to be better. This week, I think Chase Claypool will be very good again. And, all right, on to the next
I think
matchup.
Terry McLaurin's also going to have a good week this week.
That is true.
Hey.
Actually, I don't like the cornerback matchup there. But,
Okay, I respect it.
Let's go
Scary
to
Terry.
our next matchup, the no kicker off, with both teams not having a kicker yet.
Yeah.
So, out of these two kickerless teams, Cassie, Sam and Michael,
Mixing CEH and THC versus multiple scoregasms.
which one do you think you're going to go with?
Let's see. I'm going to call. Suspense is on. Probably multiple scoregasms.
Okay.
That's a good pick.
All right. Yeah, we both actually picked multiple scoregasms as well. By the way, also, surprise, surprise, we actually, for the second week in a row, had the same exact matchup predictions. We are not even picking the highest projected team a couple of times.
I think 2 out of the 6
We just got
were
that
under...
fantasy friend mind meld going.
Yeah, we've been 2 or 3 out of the 6 we picked the underdogs, and it just happens. We do these entirely separately, and
Because you know
So what
why? Because
happens-
we're always right, except for last week where we were only right half the time.
yeah.
All right, Cassie?
Always right, except for when we're not.
Exactly. You're getting it now, Cassie.
Yep. All right. Do you have any reasoning?
Any
or...
reasoning?
Not particularly. Just kind of spoke to me.
That
Hey,
makes sense. You know, sometimes you have to follow the heart, follow the gut. That's an important part of
I agree.
making picks. All right, and I kind of chose it because I just think that Michael's team is really good. That's it. His team's really good. He's got great receivers, great running backs. Even without
Even his
tight end
flex spot
concern,
is-
should be solid. Yeah, even
Yeah.
on the bye with Kamara. All right, anything
These
else
guys
for you?
say you have a good team, so you don't need Austin Eckler that bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't.
We're calling shots fired.
Oof. No means no when it comes to trade offers,
Just
except for
kidding.
unless someone says it to me.
All right, and we're on to the last matchup of the week. We have Team Slept On versus Wicked Piss Ass.
All right. So,
The Wicked Piss Ass.
Cassie, which one are you going with?
I'm gonna say Team Slept On.
Any reasoning for that?
No.
Okay, fair enough. I was
It just kind of felt right.
You actually did the same pick as us again. So,
Yeah, we both
Really?
picked Team Slept On again.
So I think you only actually had one really different from us. What was that one? I forget. But
Oh, she picked Ben over
she
you.
picked Ben
sorry.
incorrectly. It's okay.
Incorrectly.
Prove me
So-
wrong then. I won't be mad.
But yeah, it's okay. I just get you hate me or whatever. But so I picked Team Slept On as well for a very simple reason. You need running backs to win in fantasy football. Team Slept On has them. Wicked Pisses this week does not.
Yeah. Unfortunate circumstances, but I agree for the same exact reason. I also think that Kirk Cousins is going to outperform Josh Allen, as we already said. Rex Burkhead and Adrian Peterson are really players that you don't want to start in fantasy, and she's starting both of them. Hey, Rex Burkhead could go off. It's just
And
not
Adrian
likely.
Peterson could fall into the end zone.
Yeah.
In which case you're going to be kind of happy.
He
All
could
right.
stumble off of
By
his
accident.
rocker into the end zone.
Special thanks to our excellent guest, sponsored by Eggland. This is Cassie Scott.
Yep.
All right.
Of course. Thank
I
you.
think that she'll be over 3-6 this week, unlike our terrible guest last week, Lindsay, who couldn't even get over half the guesses. I mean,
Despicable,
we can, yeah,
honestly.
I know. Way to sully the name of Eggland.
That's why we're investing in different guests this week.
Okay, and now on to our DraftKings winning lines of the week.
DraftKings winning lines of the week.
Nice. All right.
That wasn't a good one.
No, we got it. We got it. All right. So I bounced back from a kind of rough week. Went from getting 1 point to 3. I hit my lock. I hit my under. I missed. I hit my overdog. I missed on my underdog. Jacksonville did not do too well against the Texans. Jake?
I missed on my over and underdog, but I got my lock, which was the Browns.
Those are the ones we keep telling you to do.
Yes.
Do the locks because I haven't missed a lock yet, and Jake's been very solid on the locks as well. I think you missed the first one with the
I think I
Eagles,
missed the first
that
one
was
and
it.
nothing since.
Mhm.
Yep.
So we're really
Hammer those locks if you want to make some money.
Exactly. All right. You're up on me on 1 point, so why don't we start with you and your underdog?
All right, my underdog on the week is the Chicago Bears, and they are +1 against the. I have to think about it. The Panthers. Yes,
Nice.
they're playing the Panthers. Panthers have been hot lately, but the Bears' defense, I think, is going to slow them down enough. And I think that the Bears are going to win this game with David Montgomery's going to have a decent week against a terrible run defense, and I think that the Bears, Big Dick Nick, is going to be too much for the Panthers.
I think that both these teams are super underrated right now.
Yeah.
Both winning games, but for some reason getting no respect. I think, honestly, I'm a bit scared of this line just because of I think the Panthers are very good, but I do think the Bears are good enough to deliver if they perform at their best.
Yep.
For my underdog, this might be a bit of a homer in me, I went with the Philadelphia Eagles at +9 against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I'm not saying the Eagles win, but I think that they can keep it within one score, at least are fairly likely to, for a very simple reason. The Ravens, what they do best is that they run the ball. And what the Eagles do best is that they stop the run. James Conner got less than 50 yards last week after getting over 100 the 2 weeks before, I believe. The Eagles are very good at D-line, and they're going to force Lamar to throw. Now, does that help them or not? I think it helps them a bit, at least enough where they can kind of keep in the game and compete. We'll see how it goes, but I'm pretty confident with them as my underdog at +9.
All right, let's go to the overdog. My overdog on the week is the LA Rams, who have a matchup against the San Francisco 49ers, who had a terrible week last week. I don't think that they're going to do that again with Raheem Mostert back and Jimmy Garoppolo hopefully not getting benched partway through the game because of the interceptions. I think that they're going to cover their spread of -3, and because the Rams have been playing well, they're 4-1. I think the 49ers will bounce back, but they're not going to be able to cover against the Rams.
Mm-hmm. All right, and I'm going with my overdog at the Arizona Cardinals at -1 against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, as we said, we think Andy Dalton will do at least pretty good, keep the Cowboys in games, but I think -1, I will take those against Arizona's a pretty good team. I think that they would probably be better than the Cardinals, even if they had Dak.
Cowboys. Yes.
The Cowboys, even if they had Dak. So I will take this line pretty easily, as it might be a little bit of growing pains also adjusting with Andy Dalton as quarterback.
That's fair. I think that's a good call. The Cardinals' offense has been stagnant lately, but I think
they played the Jets, so they did pretty good last week, but
Yeah.
it was against the Jets.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna go to the lock of the week. My lock this week is the Green Bay Packers.
Mm-hmm. Wait, even with trash quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who's terrible?
I have
Who you
not
hate?
called him trash. He's a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback.
I know.
But you know what? He's
I don't
playing an
recall that.
even better quarterback. I will say that.
Okay, so now you're saying that he's worse than a 41-year-old man who can barely throw the ball deep? Okay.
Historically, yes. This
Fair
year,
enough.
no. Historically, yes. Based on achievements.
Okay, so, yeah, I think that's a decent pick.
Yeah, I think that the Packers are... The Bucs' run defense hasn't been what we thought it was going to be this year, and Aaron Jones is a beast. I also think that with Devontae Adams back, there's no way to stop that dynamic offense.
I actually was really thinking about picking the Packers, too. Kind of forgot that I did. And I love the Packers, too, because they're coming off a bye, and that means they also have extra prep time. It's always good. Tampa Bay also had kind of an extended week, but I do think that having Devontae healthy, getting their players healthy, and extra playing time
Throughout the
at
rest
-1,
yeah,
great pick. I think that's a
-1
great lock.
over the Bucs. I think the Bucs are going to be a force coming a few weeks from now, but right now the Packers are going to roll.
And my lock of the week is you kind of had two pretty elite teams going at it. Well, I'm picking my lock from kind of the toilet bowl of the week, which is the Washington football team against the New York Giants. I am picking Washington plus 2.5 for a very simple reason. I think
Giants
Washington, the Giants suck, and Washington I think sucks a little less.
I agree.
Kyle Allen, he should be playing again. He actually looked pretty good against the Rams when he got in. And I think that the Giants are a much worse team than the Rams.
What about Alex Smith?
Alex Smith too. Great comeback story.
Yep.
If you haven't seen the documentary, you should. It's insane. Comeback player of the year. But going back, I think that and I don't think that the Cowboys as Giants will be able to score on the Washington defense, which is pretty good. So I think that just the Washington team sucks less. So I will take them with the points.
Yep. All right, don't forget, hammer those locks.
Yeah, hammer those.
You want to make some cash, make some money, hammer those locks.
All right.
That has been week 6.
In the book, we got some spicy takes, we got some matchup predictions, and we got our locks. We will see you next time.
See you guys.